Welcome back. The Senate's version of the big, beautiful bill now facing some headwinds in the House as a growing number of lawmakers are voicing opposition to the rewrites that were happening in the Senate. They include major tax reforms, steeper Medicaid cuts than the House called for, and lowering that SALT cap deduction back down to $10,000, down from $40,000. Ohio Congressman Warren Davidson and New York Congressman Mike Lawler told me on this program yesterday they will vote no to these revisions. Joining me now is Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. He's a member of the Small Business and Appropriations Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You say there's a narrative of this bill going around that is false. What is that narrative?
Well, Maria, thanks for having me. Yeah, this false narrative, this gaslighting of the American people has been around since we started talking about this reconciliation package, the one big, beautiful bill, H.R. 1. The Democrats, the progressives, they want to frame it as a tax cut for the millionaires and billionaires. That is simply not the case. This is the largest tax cut for working class families in U.S. history. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. It's pro-family, it's pro-business, it's pro-worker.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got to stop the largest increase in taxes that we've ever seen. If you don't move this forward, where are you on that? I mean, you're on appropriations. Tell me what you see at this point.
Well, as far as the one big beautiful bill goes, the Senate has made some revisions. I think this is going to end up in conference in some form, whether it's through leadership or a true conference, which we haven't had in a long time. I know there are some big concerns with the SALT cap. Michael Lawler, a good friend of mine, I want to see our colleagues from New York come back. We need to retain the majority in the U.S. House. If we don't do that, on January 3rd of 2027, Hakeem Jeffries will be Speaker of the House, and it will mean impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. We've got to retain majority. I think the SALT cap is going to come in somewhere between the 10,000 and 40,000 number. But look, if we don't get this done, there's no limit. It goes back to pre-2017 figures.
Exactly what I spoke to Mike Lawler about yesterday. Here's the New York Congressman with me right here. Watch. Are you really going to vote no on this?
Yeah. I mean, look,
You're going to blow up the president's agenda.
I've been very clear from the beginning that I would never vote to pass a tax bill that does not adequately lift the cap on salt. The fact is, when people talk about, oh, we're subsidizing bad blue states, the reality over the past 7 years is that 29 states blew through the $10,000 cap. So to revert this back to $10,000 is absolutely absurd, and nobody would ever support that.
If it comes back to the House and then the Senate agrees, okay, it's not 40,000, but it's 30,000, will you agree?
No.
You're not going to agree even to $30,000 cap?
That's what Ways and Means.
I bet 20,000.
That's what definitely not. Ways and Means put forth 30,000, and they did so trying to jam us without negotiating. And we were able to force a negotiation in good faith with the Speaker, with the White House. We came to a $40,000 agreement. That's the deal. Stick to the deal.
I think he's posturing there. Do you think you'll land at 30,000?
Well, look, I love Mike Lawler. I love that he's fighting for the people of New York and for America, for that matter. There's going to have to be some sort of negotiation on this because it's very clear that some in our conference, they don't want any SALT. Raising the SALT limit.
That's right.
And so there's got to be a negotiation. I think Michael knows that. And let's see what happens during conference.
So when are you expecting to get this bill back in the House? Because you've got one legislative week left before the July 4th holiday for the Senate's deadline.
You know, we're really in a jam, and that's what I told the administration, too, on getting a full budget to us. We're trying to get the appropriations done. We've gotten military construction, VA. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. We've gotten defense done. We're halfway through ag. When we get back Monday, we're going to go full bore on trying to get the 12 appropriation bills out of the committees and onto the floor. We got 5 of them passed on the floor last year. Under the leadership of our chairman, Tom Cole, I'm confident we're going to get all those passed. We do not need another continuing resolution, Maria. And we've got the debt ceiling to deal with. We've got the appropriation bills to make sure we get that done before the end of September.
Yeah, so do you think you'll be able to get this done and have it on the president's desk for signage in July?
Well, look, the deadline that we self-imposed was July 4th. I would love to see the President of the United States signing that in the Rose Garden on July 4th, Independence Day, to bring us independence from the largest tax increase in U.S. history.
In the middle of all of this, President Trump will be back in the Situation Room today, this morning, to meet with his national security team. The Israel-Iran conflict is now in day 7. The president told senior aides that he approved these attack plans, but he was holding off to see if Tehran would abandon its nuclear program. We've got new Fox News polls show more American voters think Iran poses a real threat to U.S. national security. 73% said as much, up from 60% in July of 2019. Americans are split on Israel's decision to strike Iran's nuclear facilities along party lines there. These polls show that Republican support outweighs that of the Democrats and independents, 73% to 32%. Congressman, you've been urging the president to continue his campaign against the rogue regime in Tehran. What do you want to see happen here?
Look, I want to see someone finish the job, whether it's Israel, whether it's the United States of America. We have been dealing with these Islamic terrorists for 43 years. It is very clear. I was in the Middle East last October in Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. The leaders there want something to be done. They want normalcy in their region.
Yeah.
They want good trading partners. Israel has the Ayatollah on the ropes. We've got to cut off the head of the snake. We've got to eliminate their nuclear capabilities. My district is home to Whiteman Air Force Base. I was there 2 days ago. Right in front of the B-2 stealth bombers.
Yep.
They are locked and loaded, ready for the president's command.
Well, there was a time that Iran was a vibrant economy and people would go and enjoy freedom there. But
yeah.
Look, we just had Gordon Chang on, and he said that there are cells in America controlled by Iran, that there are Iranians that have come into this country. I mean, you know, we had an open border under Joe Biden.
Basically,
and
yes.
Millions have come in. Construction on the border wall surged ahead in Arizona and Texas. Customs and Border Protection giving one company more than $300 million to get 27 miles built in the Tucson sector. Environmental waivers cleared the path to develop 17 miles of wall in the Rio Grande Valley sector as well. And now the CBP is reporting 0 illegals released into the country last month, compared to 62,000 in the same time last year. Migrant encounters also taking a significant decline. 9,000 just last month compared to 118,000 a year ago, Congressman. Your reaction to the president's efforts on the border, and of course there's that money in the border, on the border in the big beautiful bill, but Rand Paul says it's too much.
Well, it's not too much. $700 billion or million to finish parts of the wall. $1,000 bonus for the Border Patrol, which have been not respected, I think, by the past administration. Look, we knew it was a lie from Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas. I've told you this, the biggest liar since Pinocchio, that the border was secure. We knew it wasn't secure. They let 12 million illegal aliens in, and now we're concerned about sleeper cells in from Iran and other people who want to do us harm. China, exactly. I had a conversation with Gordon Chang about that. What a great person to have on about the threat from communist China. Look, we have let down the wall and let in people who want to do us harm.
Yeah.
And I think that will go down in history as one of the biggest disservices that President Biden did to our country.
So you don't think that the money for the border changes in the big beautiful bill? Because Rand Paul is pushing back, says it's too much money, but he says he's not going to be the one to allow this to fail.
Look, we've got to invest in this wall. The problem is, Maria, that under President Biden, all this unfinished wall, and I was there and I saw it, was sitting on the ground, and they sold it off for
pennies
either
on the dollar.
pennies on the dollar.
Great to see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you in studio as well. Mark Alford here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.